Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to a walk down memory lane. So, inspired by talking about my adventures, my inner adventures in sweater making from last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, maybe by the time this goes up. I don't know. I mentioned, just as a please take my advice, don't make the same mistakes I did twice. I've had some fails in the sweater department. Some of them yarn, some of them patterns, some of them not blocking things that should have been blocked to ensure that they fit. Not all of them have been user error. But specifically, when I found this sweater, this is the mushroom sweater that I talked about in my show and tell that I wore until I gained so much weight I couldn't wear it. I got a ridiculous amount of wear out of this sweater before my weight kind of exploded, but I made a lot of errors in it. And when I found it, I pulled it out and was like, ooh, you can tell I was a first year knitter. There's a lot of mistakes in here, but I definitely wore the sweater quite a bit. I had to put a gusset in the underarm area because I made the seam too tight. I didn't block any of the pieces before putting that seam in there. And so I had the extra width down there to even get it on. It definitely still does not fit. I was like 130 pounds when I made this. Bust wise, it actually still fits. That's because of the deep V in it. I have not been able to find the pattern for this because I cannot even vaguely remember the name of it. It was a free pattern on nitty.com though. But yeah, so inspired by this sweater and finding it and being like, ooh, I wanted to share with you guys some patterns or some projects that I have made over the years that when they came off the hook, I was super, super excited about and was super proud of myself for the finished item. Some of these, looking at them now, I still really love and I'm still really proud of them. Some of them have errors that could have been prevented. First off, if you guys have not been with me very long, I learned how to crochet from my grandmother when I was about 5 years old. I didn't start understanding patterning, yarn weight, hook sizes, gauge until middle school, but I still didn't think they were important. It wasn't until I was married and in my 20s before I saw the error in my ways and tried to correct some of the mistakes I had been making. And part of what pushed that forward were projects like that and the chocolate brown sweater I showed you guys last week. But some of these, when I look at where I was as a crafter when I made them, I'm still proud of them. I would not wear them or use them anymore. They're more held on to for memory's sake. I am missing a lot of the one-off swatch pieces I did, my test projects, things like that. Just over the years of moving and stuff, those have gone missing. But I do still have a few. I wish I had Derpy the deer still. Troy tried to get me to not get rid of that, and apparently at some point I did finally get rid of Derpy the deer, but I wish I had that to show you guys so bad. I have no pictures of him. I have nothing of how bad this deer turned out. I couldn't even finish it. It was that bad. It was that bad. So the oldest thing here is this stole. This is made using Carrie Simply Soft. I made this in high school. I went to Governor's School for Arts and Humanities summer program in South Carolina, and I can't remember how, but one of the security guards in my dorm knew I crocheted. So she brought me a bunch of pattern books, and they were old school workbook pattern books. Workbook magazine, or Work Basket magazine. That's what it is. Now, I have since replaced some of these because I lost the original one she gave me. But this was one of those vintage patterns out of that magazine. And I bought the yarn when we went to one of our Walmart field trips to buy our essentials. My stitch work is not even. This is using 2 strands of Care & Simply Soft held together. It's way heavier than it ought to be. There was fringe. That's why there are these loops down here. And in an attempt to salvage the core piece, I did cut the fringe off. The fringe got matted. I tried to machine wash this, which I would not recommend. On the shell section, it doesn't look so bad, but on this section, you can see how the stitches are kind of smushied. When I think I was a high schooler and I know how little I put into this, this was made the summer in between my junior and senior year of high school. I'm still proud of it in a nostalgic way. I definitely would not wear this item again. But it's one of those sentimental pieces that you could tell it's sentimental, the fact that I still have it after all this time. So that is project number 1. The next oldest project here is this blanket. The grandmother who taught me how to crochet had to wait many moons to finally get a finished project worth owning from me. She got wonky crocheted bags. She had shawls that weren't straight. She had many items that I made for her that I'm 97% sure she threw away. And I don't blame her. I was 5 when I started crocheting. I didn't read patterns till middle school, and I didn't have the interwebs. Yeah. All y'all who learned through YouTube, you got a much better understanding than I did. So this is a cable stitch country heart blanket. It's 4 squares across and 2, 4, 6 squares down. Now some of y'all will be able to see why this isn't perfect. I did not block my squares. So in many cases, my hearts are not quite straight. They're a little wonky. Even with I did a it looks like 2 double crochet border on here, and it's curling back. Otherwise, I actually think my stitching is really nice. I wish I had blocked it, and I could still go back and block it now, but this is how she had it in her house. Unfortunately, my grandmother has since passed away. And when she passed away, I got the blanket back. It was one of the very few things from her house that I asked for. So my aunt did ensure that, the aunt that sent me the yarn earrings, she did ensure that this did come back to me. When she was going through her cancer treatments and stuff, I sent her a bunch of chemo hats, and the fuzzier, the better, the more, not goofy, but squishy, the better. I sent her a couple shawls and wraps to wear, things like that. But by far, this is the best quality item I ever sent her. And if I went through the effort of blocking it now, yeah, it probably would look a lot better. But, yeah, it is what it is. And I kind of enjoy having the memory of the fact that, that's how she had it. I know she wasn't very happy with the fact it wasn't blocked. She couldn't figure out how to make things lay flat, and that kind of vexed her. I know it got stuck in a drawer for many ages, but yeah, so there's that. And that's done in Red Heart, Super Saver, and like Aran. It's either Aran or Off-White. And that's You know, I just realized I sent her a chicken, and I don't know whatever happened to that chicken. I got the teddy bears back. But that's probably like 2000. This probably got sent to her 2008 maybe. 2007, in that time frame. I wasn't knitting yet. I was trying to learn, but I wasn't knitting yet. So skip ahead a little bit. And I'm not sure in what order these 4 items were made, but these were all kind of made in the same kind of span. First off, and I know that because of the yarn that I used for them. This is one of the first projects that I ever blocked. I love this shawl. To this day, I am still ecstatic with my pineapple shawl. So this pattern is the Sidewalk shawl. It was a free pattern on redheart.com. And I mean, it might be over on Yarnspiration. I don't know. I still love the yarn. I still love the color. This is the first time I've ever read a crochet chart and actually gotten a finished object and not just like thrown it away or waited till somebody wrote down instructions. Oh, I got it upside down. Don't I? No, that's right. Okay. It threw me because it's the border on it. But yeah. This is using one of the Debbie Stoller Stitch Nation yarns from Red Heart. I don't know if it's, Bamboo U or Alpaca Love or which one it was. It's very, very soft, very, very drapey. I blocked this really, really hard. Obviously, I think I steamed it. It's got to be one that had an acrylic base because of the way it's held its blocking. I steamed it and I wet blocked it. I've worn this many, many moons, many, many times. I only hand wash this piece. I've never put it through the washer. That's also about the same time I discovered some yarns are okay throwing them in the washer. Some yarns, not so much. So the Sidewalk shawl. Somewhere in here I learned how to knit. And I think, yeah, after these 3, there's only one other thing to discuss. Somewhere in here I learned how to knit, and I dove headfirst into knitting. I spent probably 6 months watching Vicky Howell's Nitty Gritty show on DIY before it finally clicked. But once it clicked how to knit, I was off. I started trying color work, lace work, socks. I mean, I tried everything that is considered to be an intermediate to advanced technique as fast as possible. I spent very, very little time after my first couple successful dishcloths doing just, stockinette and garter stitch items. I wasn't perfect, as evidenced by the sweater, but I had the stitches down. I understood my basics. I had the stitches down. By this point, I understood fiber content matters, but not really in what context fiber content matters. So when I started doing color work, this is actually the first one. I think this pattern's called Lilyhammer, but I'm not positive. This is using Lion Brand's Woolies. I do not know the name of that multicolor color, but I made many, many, many projects out of that yarn. And this is just the Aran or off-white, whatever color. I think it was called like Woodland Multi or something like that. And I still love that color. It's definitely dated to the 90s. I don't know how many of you guys remember how popular that kind of colorway was or that color combination of the hunter and stuff, how popular that was for a while. But yeah, it definitely dates the yarn to the 90s. So it's probably an early 2000 yarn that I got massive, ridiculous quantities of on a clearance deal. But I mean, I made a poncho out of it. I've made hat and scarf sets out of it. It's like the mushroom color. I made so many things out of this color. I'm surprised I didn't want to burn it by the time I was done. But you can see my floats in the back are actually really good. This is after a couple of test runs at Color Work. This hat has been worn over and over and over again. This has been put through the washer and dryer 50 million times. I still think for its age, it really doesn't look that bad, especially the fact it was like the only hat I wore for like 3 years straight in the wintertime. I still think the pattern is gorgeous. I would love to come back and remake this pattern at some point. I think this one is next. This is one of the first dainty shawls I ever made and actually wore. This is another Debbie Stoller yarn. I have no idea what pattern this is. I know this is at least 7 years old because I remember wearing it to church under my black leather jacket. The year I got the black 3/4 length sleeve dress that I wear like all the time. It's the most comfortable dress. It looks nice to wear out, but it's literally like wearing a t-shirt, like just like a night shirt t-shirt. It's the most comfortable thing on earth. And I, for about 2 winters straight, frequently wore my black leather jacket over that with this covering my neck. And if I needed to, I could wrap it around my shoulders or wear it as a scarf. I mean, I can date a lot of things based on what house we lived in when I made it. This wasn't this house, the previous house, or the house before that. It was the house before that. When I made this. It's some kind of sampler shawl. It's another project. I'm actually at this point, I understand different fiber content for different usages. I understand why something that would have like this kind of semi-ruffled picot border would want a natural fiber versus acrylic. I have a much better understanding of how to block things, why to block things, when to block things. That's been folded up. I didn't wear it this winter, which is why the picots are kind of up. But I think that's when I was at the point where I was really enjoying picot borders anyway. And I was just putting picots on everything. But yeah, I mean, it held its blocking very well to have been in a box for the last year. I still love the pattern. Obviously, still love that bubblegum pink color. My ends are not hideously woven in. I hit them in I can see where it's woven in here, but I hit it in up here in the garter ridge area, so that the straight line area here. I think that's also when I quit. Actually, this one might have been spit spliced for joining balls. So this one must be one of the 100% wool of the Debbie Stoller. It's very soft. But yeah, my ends are much better. My technique is better. At that point, I've got a very, very, very even stockinette stitch. Once again, very pleased. And this was about the same time as the last 3 projects. This is called something like Damask Rose. This is also Woolies. I believe that's cranberry and off-white. I have some boo-boos in here. My floats are a little too long in sections. I didn't catch some of these longer floats in here. But it's another Fair Isle. I really enjoy Fair Isle color work. It's very short. I'm not sure why it's so short. I don't remember it being this short. I didn't wear this one as much as Lillehammer. Um, there is some puckering I'm noticing. And it seems to be, it's from where the single stitch there. No stitch, boom stitch, no stitch, boom stitch. But you know, I'm not, oh, look at that decrease. Look at that crown. I might have to go back and find this and redo this one too. I'm not angry at myself for this one. These could have been made out of order. This could be the first one, and this could be the second Fair Isle hat I did. And I've done a lot of Fair Isle over the years. I really enjoy Fair Isle hats. Don't know why. I'm not a huge, fancy pattern person. I'm not a huge color work person, but I do find Fair Isle, when you're able to just sit down and focus and go on a project, I find it therapeutic. I enjoy following the charts. I'm one of those weird people. I've never had an issue following a knitting chart, but following crochet charts always gives me fits. So after all these years of knitting and crocheting, we come to one of the projects I am the most proud of to date. I do have a blanket I'm more proud of, but this is my personal prized possession of my crocheting. My Doctor Who blanket is probably more impressive, but this one means a lot more to me. So this is a scrap blanket. This was from doing a Santa Claus amigurumi. This was from making a Christmas tree skirt. This is Red Heart Fiesta, and I've made dog scarves, mug cozies, hats, regular scarves. This is a Bernat softie that was a worsted weight, and I did multiple donation baby projects with that. I don't see any of the more interesting colors. The yellow started as the center of the flowers. It's I love this yarn. I made a duck baby set. And there were like little hand mittens that looked like little duck wings. There was a ducky hat, and there were little flipper feet. That got donated eons ago, but that's where I got the yellow from originally. Now, I did buy more to finish all of these. This generally sits at the foot of my guest bed. I did enter this in the state fair the year I finished it. Oh, that's the scrap from Eeyore. I made an Eeyore softie. That's the scrap from Eeyore. I made that in college. Oh, this is another one of those yarns that I swear will never go away. This is in part of my hexagon scrap GAN that I've been working on. I know there's more of that in there. It's a Red Heart. Ugh. It's the yarn that never goes away. It always shows up in my stash. But yeah, the South Carolina State Fair is not known for liking scrap projects. So I don't think this placed at all. It may have gotten a second place, but I don't think it placed at all. But I was really quite pleased with this. And all the green flowers, it's all the flowers have yellow centers. All the green flowers, to break up the color, have green centers. But I've told you guys, my problem with scrap GANs isn't that I think scrap GANs innately are ugly. I think you need more color. And the more you have, the better they look. And this is one of those examples of the more you have, the better it looks. Even though apparently I got 3 reds up here. I made all these individually and just stuck them in a bin. And eventually went through, I single crocheted them together. And I thought this looked like vines, which is why I did this design. I thought it made it look like vines on the back. And that's more of that. I love this yarn that I did the center of the green flowers with. But these are scraps that span $15 years of crafting. I still am very proud of this blanket, and it's one of those memories. Each yarn has a memory associated to it. So the blanket itself is like a memory quilt or something like that. I don't think there's a pattern for that. I probably won't link patterns down here. If you can find them, you're more than welcome to link them down below. But some of these projects are so old. I don't have records of having done them readily available. And I don't want to burn you 3 weeks worth of research trying to track down all these patterns. But these are all projects I was really, really proud of when I finished. Some I'm like, some I could have done better in. I did one, since we're on the theme. What kicked it off. This is another, I would love to remake this sweater. Probably not in brown, but oh, there it is. You see that right there? That is where I wove in my end. Normally my ends are not that visible. I'm not good at weaving in my ends on my knitting. They're normally not that visible. They're normally not that bad. But going back and looking at this sweater and remembering it so fondly and seeing all the errors in it, and that was just a cursory glance at the sweater where I started seeing all that. I was like, I know I've got other things around here that would kind of be fun to share with you guys that are, a walk down memory lane, a blast from the past. Some I'm still really proud of, some I still wear, some I still use. Some I keep for sentimental value. They'll just sit there as sentimental projects. If you guys have a question, if you just want to say hey, if you find the patterns, please link them down below. I'm not hard to find. All of my contact information is listed down below. Instagram, email, postal address. I have all sorts of different ways to contact me. I hope you enjoyed, the walk down memory lane here. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. If you have projects you would like to share that are in the same vein, please let me know. You can send me an email, tag me on Instagram, send me a PM on Instagram. I enjoy seeing you guys' stuff. And if you're another YouTuber who happens to want to jump in on sharing the projects you were proud of when you started, but now look back and are like, ooh, and I know we all have those. Tag me and let me know that you decided to do a similar kind of video. I kind of got the idea from, like I said, doing the sweater, but I realized I could do a video with it, with Jennifer doing her walk through the closet thing. So let me know if you do a similar theme video. I'd really be interested to see what you guys have made in the past and what you think you could improve on it would be. So anyways, you guys, take care. I love you, and I will see you all real soon. Bye, guys.